And as you know, Justin, we try to get to know our movie club members as much as possible, especially when we have a chance to get to talk to them on the pod, so to speak. So with that in mind, I think we'll just jump into our movie club questions, and I'm going to let Ben go first.
Yeah. I mean, before I get into mine, I just want to say, like, yeah, I think you were the first non-family member to sign up, which was honestly like meant a ton. Like, obviously we're grateful for all the family support and stuff, but to have someone on the outside, I was like, oh, okay, cool. This was like, it meant a lot. So I'm super glad that you're here on the pod with us. And you came and hung out at our first in-person watch party, which was super cool too. So fun to go see Jurassic Park. So anyways, we've said it over and over, but I'm super happy you're here and glad you're in the movie club. As far as my first question for the Clubhouse, I mean, yours and my relationship, I mean, we also used to work at the airport together with Fuzz, and you and I would talk about movies all the time. I remember just exchanging texts with you. It's like, hey, the Criterion sale's going on, just so you know, like back and forth, like, what'd you get? That kind of a thing. So like, I knew from the beginning, that you were super into movies. So I'm really curious to see what your answer is for this, because like my question I like to ask people is that you're on a desert island, you've got a TV and somehow like a Blu-ray player ready to go, and you can take the whole filmography of one person, either an actor or a director. You have everything they've ever done, and if they're still alive, everything that they're going to do. But I'm curious who your desert island actor or director would be.
That's a good question, and this one might be maybe could come across a little vanilla, but I'd have to go with Scorsese, just for the body of work.
Nice.
And also the talent that he's worked with. So I kind of killing two birds with one stone there. Getting De Niro, DiCaprio, some of these great all-time actors with Scorsese. So I'd have to go with that. If it was a desert island and I could only take one, he'd be the guy.
I mean, I think it's an awesome choice. I think he gets not necessarily pigeonholed, but I think he just kind of gets grouped in as just like a gangster movie guy. But I mean, honestly, you have some great movies. Like I really enjoy Hugo. Like, I think that's actually a really fun movie. So there is some like lighter fare with Scorsese that you get, Well,
and his movies, like you kind of just said with Hugo, they're just fun. Like whether they're gangster movies or not, like
exactly.
You're in for a spectacle, you're in for a ride. He's always got great performances and interesting stories, and they're beautiful to look at. So I don't think you can go wrong with Scorsese at all.
No, you've got King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, so you have the good parts of Joker, So that's awesome. You take that with you, and Cape Fear, which is just like one of the best remakes ever. So yeah, Scorsese is an awesome choice. I think it's red.
Agreed.
We're on board with that. And not that you need to hear us toot Ben's horn again. If you want to hear two guys toot Ben's horn constantly, listen to this podcast.
That's for Three Films After Dark. That's
that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Two guys and Ben's horn.
Patreon only. That is an exclusive on Patreon. You don't get that for
fans,
free.
Baby.
Ben had the great idea of one of our rounds where we chose a movie that we ourselves loved that we felt nobody else either knew about or went very underappreciated, and we called it Unsung Gems. And so I've turned Ben's idea into my question and want to know what your unsung gem is, a movie that you love that you feel like nobody else really gives the time of day.
Ooh,
this one's a hard one for me too.
I would probably go with Badlands by Terrence Malick. I don't think enough people have seen that movie, and I don't think enough people realize just how kind of like a director's tree, how much influence he's had on all the kind of directors that came after that. But that movie, I think, informed a lot of stylistic choices, a lot of writing choices that other directors built on. So yeah, I definitely think Badlands doesn't get enough screen time with people.
Awesome.
I think we maybe could start a new segment here because Badlands is streaming on HBO Max, and I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
Matt apparently hasn't seen it. Benjamin?
I mean, it was actually part of that 500 in a year. That's when I watched it. So I love it. Sissy Spacek and Martin Sheen, right? I believe. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in honor of our guest, maybe we could try and do some sort of watch party around this, an Unsung Gems watch party.
Let's do
Based
it.
on let's turn the pod off and let's go watch a movie.
Live
That's what this is
stream.
supposed to be about, right? Matt, I'm sorry. I feel like I cut you off. I don't know if you had any follow-ups for Justin or.
No, I mean, it's an interesting. I always love hearing the pick that people have, and I like it when I haven't seen the movie, so it's going on the watch list. I love me an unsung gem.
I mean,
absolutely.
And right now we're doing obviously directors like Hitchcock, and now we're into Kubrick, and then we're going into Spielberg. But I think Malick falls into that of like when you have one of his movies on, you kind of know he has a very distinct style. I think you know, like he's I don't know, pretty direct in what he does. So I think Badlands is a great choice. Where does that fall in his filmography? That's like one of his first, right?
The second, I believe, film, maybe
second film. Yeah.
IMDb has it as his first. Well,
does it?
As a producer.
Oh, okay.
Second director. He had a short before that. So yeah, his first feature length directed film. Yeah, pretty cool, man. I didn't realize he'd been making films for that long. That's embarrassing. I've known about Malick for a while. So there's a lot of directors we could have picked, in my opinion, for this 3-round series of directors. And yeah, maybe we'll have to do an auteur round again, because there's a couple directors like Malick I'd like to dig into a little bit more. So I typically ask people who was their biggest influence, as far as informing their movie tastes or their tastes in, pop culture and that sort of thing. But I would like to know that answer if you have it. But the question I've become more interested in is any favorite experiences watching movies, whether it was just an experience you had watching with a certain person, or like a fun experience at a movie theater, that sort of thing. I get the feeling you've probably seen thousands of movies and had a bunch of experiences. So I'm curious if there's any that stand out in your mind, especially like we saw the Jurassic Park in theaters together, and that was a big moment for me. That's the first time I've been in a theater for a year. So especially that's just on my mind lately. So yeah, any cool experiences watching movies you've had, I'd love to hear about.
Yeah, I think there's, people that you watch a lot of movies, there's kind of those moments that you have, and they don't need to be super huge. I remember, watching Star Wars for the first time on VHS and as a kid, and it opened my eyes to, a new world of possibility when it came to cinema.
Yeah.
You could take it all the way to, and you guys, I had a real great experience in Los Angeles, the ArcLight. Went with a good friend, Nate Wolfley, who also was a kind of a supporter here.
Oh, right.
And we watched There Will Be Blood.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Oh man,
and that was just
hell yeah,
an
that's
amazing
awesome.
experience to be able to watch it kind of on that type in that type of theater. Experience
so
that.
cool.
So yeah, I mean anywhere from and I think that's really the power of movies, power of stories. It could be on a small TV screen when you're a kid, a huge theater, and certain movies just kind of resonate with you. So those are the type of experiences that I enjoy.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. It's the perfect argument as to why, despite all the streaming options, like theaters, in my opinion, are always going to be around, because I certainly love putting on headphones and watching a movie on my laptop. It's become like my favorite way to watch a movie because it feels so intimate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just feels like your own little ecosystem. But there is something to be said about going and being in the energy of the crowd and just all those little things that you can only get as a shared experience. So yeah, that's beautiful. And it's on a personal level, it's nice for me to get to know you a little bit more because, we worked together at SkyWest, but regrettably, I didn't really get to know you that well. So I'm glad to be able to do that now and share a moment with you. So I think it's really cool. So thank you for sharing. And again, thanks for being here.